he was willing to let his master become the husband of our ruler, and call himself king, facing south. All he wanted was to have their travel rescript certified so that the three of them could leave for the west. On their way back after acquiring the scriptures, they will come here to bow to father and mother, and ask for travel expenses to go back to the Great Tang. Did the royal brother say anything more? Asked the queen, smiling. The grand preceptor said. The royal brother did not say anything more, but he seemed to be willing to marry our mistress. His second disciple, however, wanted to drink to their consent first. When the queen heard this, she at once ordered the court of imperial entertainments to prepare a banquet. She also requested that her imperial cortege be readied so that she might go out of the capital to receive her husband. The various women officials, in obedience to the queen's command, began to sweep and clean the palaces and to prepare the banquet with the utmost haste. Look at them. Though this state of Western Liang happens to be a dominion of women, the carriage and chariot are not less opulent than those of China. You see 6 dragons belching colors. 2 phoenixes bringing luck. 6 dragons, belching colors, support the chariot. 2 phoenixes, bringing luck, lift up the carriage. Strange fragrance in endless waves. Auspicious airs continuously rise. Fish pendants of gold or jade worn by many ministers. Rows and rows of lovely locks and bejeweled hair. A royal carriage shielded by mandarin duck fans. Through pearly screens glisten the phoenix hairpins. Melodic pipes. Harmonious strings. What great sense of joy reaching to the sky. What boundless bliss leaving the estrade Numana. 3 layered canopies wave above the royal house. 5 colored banners light up the imperial steps. This land has ne'er seen the nuptial cup exchanged. Today the queen marries a gifted man. In a moment the imperial cortege left the capital and arrived at the male reception post house. Someone went inside to announce to Tripitaka and his disciples. The imperial cortege has arrived. On hearing this, Tripitaka straightened out his clothes and left the main hall with the 3 disciples to meet the carriage. As the queen rolled up the screen to descend from the carriage, she asked, "Which is the royal brother of the Tang court?" Pointing with her ringer, the grand preceptor said, "The one in a clerical robe standing behind the incense table outside the post-house gate." Lifting her moth brows and opening wide her phoenix eyes, the queen stared at him and found that this was an uncommon figure indeed. Look at him. What handsome features. What dignified looks. Teeth white like silver bricks. Ruddy lips and a square mouth. His head's flat-topped, his forehead wide and full. Lovely eyes, neat eyebrows, and a chin that's long. 2 well-rounded ears betoken someone brave. He is all elegance, a gifted man. What a youthful, clever, and comely son of love. Worthy to wed Western Liang's gorgeous girl. Utterly ravished by what she saw, the queen was swept away by amorous passion. Opening her tiny, cherry-like mouth, she cried out, "Royal brother of the Great Tang, aren't you coming to take and ride the phoenix?" When Tripitaka heard these words, his ears turned red and his face scarlet. Filled with embarrassment, he dared not lift his head at all. On one side, however, Ju-8 Rules stuck up his snout and stared with glassy eyes at the queen, who was quite beguiling herself. Truly she had brows like kingfisher hair, and flesh like mut on jade. Peach petals bedeck her face. Her bun piles gold phoenix hair. Her eyes cool, liquid gaze, such seductive charm. Her hands young, tender shoots, such dainty form. Colors flutter from a red sash hung aslant. Bright gleams flash forth from jade and pearl pinned high. Don't speak of the beauty of Zhao Jun. She indeed surpasses even Shishu. The willow waist bends slightly to gold pendant sounds. The light, lotus steps move the jade-like limbs. The lunar goddess cannot come up to her. Nor can the maids of heaven compare with her. Her fair, palace style's not of a worldly school. She's like Queen Mother from Jasper Pool. As our idiot gazed at this pleasing figure, he could not restrain the saliva from drooling out of his mouth and the deer pounding at his heart. All at once, he grew weak and numb and simply melted away like a snow lion faced with fire. The queen went forward and caught hold of Tripitaka. In a most seductive voice, she said, "Royal brother darling, please ascend the dragon chariot, so that we may go to the treasure hall of golden chimes and become husband and wife." Shaking so hard that he could barely stand up, our elder behaved as if he were drunk or mesmerized. Pilgrim on one side whispered to him, "Master, don't be too modest. Please get in the carriage with our mistress. Go and have our rescript certified quickly so that we may proceed to fetch the scriptures." The elder did not dare reply. He tugged at Pilgrim a couple of times and he could no longer stop the tears from falling down. "Master, you must not be distressed," said Pilgrim. "Look at all these riches. If you don't enjoy them now, when are you going to do it?" Tripitaka had little alternative but to acquiesce. Wiping away his tears, he forced himself to appear happy and joined the queen as they, holding hands together, rode the dragon carriage. In great delight, the queen wanted to get married. In great fear, the elder wished only to worship Buddha. One desired amorous play in the bridal chamber. One sought to see the world-honored one at Mount Spirit. The queen was sincere. The monk pretended. The queen was sincere. Hoping to reach old age in harmony. The monk pretended. Guarding his feelings to nurse his primal spirit. One was so glad to see a man that she would couple with him in broad daylight. One dreaded to meet a woman and thought only to flee and go to thunderclap. The two mounted jointly the chariot. Who knew Tang monk was of another mind? When those civil and military officials saw that their ruler and the Tang monk had ascended the phoenix carriage and sat side by side together, every one of them beamed with pleasure. The entire entourage turned around and went back into the capital. Meanwhile, the great sage Sun told Sha monk to pull the luggage and lead the white horse to follow the imperial cortege. Ju 8 rules, however, scurried ahead and ran madly up to the Tower of Five Phoenixes first, shouting all the while, "What comfort! What an opportunity! But this can't be done until we have drunk the wedding wine and presented ourselves to the kinfolk first." Those officials who were attending the cortege were so terrified that they went to the chariot and said, "My lady, that monk who has a long snout and huge ears is shouting in front of the 5 phoenix towers for wedding wine to drink." When the queen heard this, she leaned her fragrant shoulder over to the elder and put her peach-like cheeks up to his face. Opening her scented mouth, she said softly, "Royal brother darling, which disciple of yours is that one with a long snout and huge ears?" "He's my second disciple," said Tripitaka. "And he has a huge appetite. In fact, he loves to indulge his mouth throughout his life. He must be given some food and drink first before we can proceed with our business." The queen asked hurriedly, "Has the court of imperial entertainments finished preparing the banquet?" "It has," reported one of the officials. "There are both meat and vegetarian dishes set up in the East Hall." "Why both?" asked the queen again. "We fear that the royal brother of the Tang court," said the official, "and his disciples are accustomed to keeping a vegetarian diet. That is why we have both meat and vegetarian dishes." Full of smiles, the queen again snuggled close to the elder and said, "Royal brother darling, do you eat meat, or are you keeping a vegetarian diet?" Tripitaka said, "This humble priest observes a vegetarian diet, but my disciples have not abstained from wine. My second disciple would like very much to have a few cups of dietary wine." They had not finished speaking when the grand preceptor approached them and said, "Please go to the East Hall to attend the banquet. Today is an auspicious day, and your majesty can marry the venerable royal brother. Tomorrow heaven will reveal the yellow road, and we shall invite the venerable royal brother to ascend the treasure hall and face south. He can then designate the name of his reign and assume the throne. Highly pleased, the queen held hands with the elder to descend from the dragon chariot and enter the main palace gate. They were met by music divine, wind wafted from the towers. As the jade carriage moved through palace gates, phoenix doors flung wide to bright flares of light. The palace now opened with rows of brocade. The unicorn hall was draped o'er by incense smoke. Bright corridors wound round the peacock screens. Towers rose rugged like the noble states, with jade halls, gold horses more wondrous still. When they reached the East Hall, they heard a choir of melodious strings and pipes. They saw 2 rows of winsome, graceful maids. 2 kinds of sumptuous repast were set up in the central hall. On the head table to the left was the vegetarian spread, whereas meat dishes were placed on the right. 2 rows of single tables were also set up toward the front of the hall. Rolling up her sleeves to reveal her dainty, pointed fingers, the queen immediately picked up a jade cup to toast her guests. Pilgrim went forward to say, "We are all keeping a vegetarian diet. Let our master be seated at the head table on the left. Then we 3 brothers may take the single tables on both sides of him." "Yes, yes," said the grand preceptor in delight. "Master and disciples are just like father and sons. They should not sit side by side." The various officials hurriedly set up the tables in proper order, after which the queen toasted each of them as he took his seat.